What is up, you guys? It is your girl Ali, or Ali Bug, whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles your pickle. And here on this channel, on my gaming channel, I post videos, pretty much like funny videos, meme videos. I haven't really posted like guides or anything like that, because to be honest, every game I jump into, it's purely for fun. I don't sweat the meta. I don't try to do what everybody's doing. Of course, you know, I like to be successful and I like to complete things. But I'm just very picky when it comes to games. I'm not a meticulous gamer that like tries to do everything there possibly is to do in a game. Like, it depends on the game, to be honest. Some games I do and some I really don't, but for the most part I just kind of do it for the memes. Now I'm making this video because there is a few people that have come to me and, you know, asked me for advice on this game, and I find it funny because I'm not a pro by any means for this game, and I didn't even know that new people or new players still jump on this game. However, when I was streaming yesterday, I did have a new player come and ask me for some advice, you know, for new players joining Paladins. And I find it funny because I just assume that most of the people in the game are veteran players, but there are some new players here and there still joining the game that are curious about the best ways to play. So this guide is going to be my first official guide. I've never really made a guide before as far as games go, also because I know that there's people that go way more in depth. They calculate stuff and they just do all this stuff. So throughout this series, even though I'm going to give you a summarized, very watered down version of explaining like different aspects of the game, I am going to be linking other channels that have helped me. There are so many Paladins creators out there, and there's a couple that I highly recommend. One of the top being NTB's Frostfangs, and Vex 30 used to make really good videos and helpful videos, but he stopped playing the game, but doesn't mean like his content's any less valuable. Now, I don't know if he still has his videos up on YouTube. I haven't been over there in a minute, but Vex 30 is a very informational, especially when it comes to ranked. Now, all the information, you know, is from obviously previous to current patches and changes and things like that. So I would just keep that in mind with a lot of the channels that, you know, you're getting information from that aren't necessarily current, but it's still good information nonetheless. Fishnet, also amazing. Creepers and Curb Z, or Curb ZM, all very amazing creators. Oh, I left one out. Andrew Chicken, also a very good player, and very informational. He's one of the ones that really break down for the numbers aspect of how much damage and, you know, a certain weapon does per shot. And those are just a few. There are tons of creators, you know, out there making Paladins content. Now, you'll notice very quickly if you go and look through my channel, all of it is done with my friends. Like, we literally have hilarious moments in the game, just really funny moments and trolling moments. And the game is super, you know, silly in that way. I actually think it is really funny that there is a competitive like nature to it because of how it used to be. And after watching so many videos from back in the day, I can honestly see how Paladins was, you know, intriguing. It was challenging. It was different. And, you know, the skill gap obviously was very obvious. They have made the game easier to play, and I know that bothers a lot of veteran players and experienced players. However, in my elo, in my lobbies, you know, it's memes. It's just all fun and having a great time with your friends. So this information is just going to be for the people that want a basic understanding. The game has a tutorial. The tutorial in the game is just very outdated. You know, it gives you one character, which is Victor, and just teaches you the basics with him. But what it doesn't explain is that this game is a hero shooter FPS, 5v5. You know, you can go and play different modes. Now, they have recently made a change to the modes that are available. So what I'm going to be teaching you, or what I'm going to be like commenting on, is kind of like the basis around Siege. I think that a lot of newer players go into Siege games coming off of TDM, or back when Onslaught was in the game. They recently took it out, but when Onslaught was in the game, like, people only played TDM and Onslaught. I'm one of them, and didn't understand how Siege works. So I want to kind of explain what each role, like each class kind of is. Now, you've got your people who can play the one class that's meant for one role, and they can actually dual play different roles. So I'm going to go over the different characters, their abilities, what type of character it is. My goal is that this will help the newer players coming in that don't know what a projectile character is. They don't know how to properly flank. They don't know how to play damage support. They don't know that as a tank, you're not just supposed to sit on the point. There are so many different things to cover. And again, throughout the series, I will be listing other creators who are well known and way more educated and can explain it better than I can. If there's a certain part of this, series that you guys want more in-depth stuff, I will try to link stuff that is related to what I'm talking about. So the first part to this series of videos is basically going to be explaining Siege in of itself, like the game mode, what's expected, some tips and things to avoid. And then as far as character specifics, I'll be guiding you to other channels so you can get more in-depth explanations on each particular champion and their roles and what's expected of them. So for the first one, we have the support role. Most people gravitate towards this role because it is genuinely, most games, it is the easier role to fill. However, as you level up and you get into different levels of the matchmaking system, and don't get me wrong, the matchmaking system is not perfect by any means in that game. However, you are going to notice that things are a little, more difficult the more higher your lobbies end up getting. A lot of times people think that when you pick support, you are just supposed to heal the tank, and that could not be further from the truth. You're also not to be what's considered a heal bot, so you just kind of only focus on healing. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and it can be very beneficial. However, it does put you at a disadvantage because, you can easily be put out of position. Teams can make plans to seriously just team flank you. It's happened to me. So you do have to learn how to protect yourself as a support, and I will be happy to go over the different support characters and ways you can utilize their damage aspects in their kits. There's a bunch of different healers, but usually you have your group healers and then your off healers. Group healers meaning they're better to heal a group, better siege picks, especially when you get into ranked. Now, I'm not talking about the meta, so if you want to look into what is the current meta, I suggest looking, into it either in the official Paladins Discord where they have those discussions, or, check out the Paladins Reddit. There's a lot of knowledgeable people, all over the place with good information. You can also find loadouts that work for everyone on paladinsguru.com. It's a great way to check out other people's loadouts and, what is popular at the time. So a lot of the times, all of these different champions have really, really useful and good ultimates. So for example, in one of the clips that I include in this, you're going to see me play a little bit of Pip. Pip is such a game changer as far as the support goes because he can turn, everybody into chickens, or depending on the skin, it'll change them into little things. But you can clear an entire point with his ult for bigger characters that do not get turned into a chicken, like Yagarath, for example. She would just get stunned for a long amount of time. So the crowd control ability on a lot of the supports are really, really good. Now, you're probably like, well, what the hell is crowd control? What is that? If you're ever playing this game and you hear someone talk about, there's just too much CC on that team, or, I hate being CC'd. That's basically, and I had to learn this, that is slang, in the Paladins realm for crowd control. What that means is basically, in addition to the abilities and ultimates that all these different champions have, you basically have the ability to slow a person or cripple a person or just things of that nature that make it harder for them to either kill you or, flank or take the point, whatever. These are very, very useful things you can do to the enemy team to get the point. Examples of CC could be, for example, the flank buck, right? He has an ability called ensnare, and for PC players, it's the right click, I believe. And basically, it will slow a target down. Now, Imani, which is a damage champion, she has the crippling ability, similar to Ainara, who is a tank. also has the ability to cripple the enemy team. So a lot of good champs with those types of abilities to control the crowd. That's the whole point of it, is to control what is happening to the point, around the point, or near it. Some examples of group healers, as I mentioned earlier, would be someone like Grok or Saris or Ying, Grover, all very good group healers. Even Io. You have people who will pocket. If you've heard that term before, pocketing is basically when really any class is running around and you see a support following them. They're basically running two supports usually, and one of the supports is the group healer and the other one is mainly focused on keeping the damage dealer or flank or tank, whoever is pushing, alive. That's their job essentially. So for example, in most of the comps that you're going to run into with Siege, whether it's casual or ranked, well, actually, this is more for casual because, ranked is completely based on your bans and counter picks and things like that, which I'll get into later on. But just to keep it simple, keep it fresh for the newbies coming in, with Siege, you have your 5 roles, which is tank, support, damage, flank, and then you usually have like one extra person who kind of just gets to double up on flank or support or tank or damage. Usually people, if it was ranked, it would go with the double tank and then work with each other to create space for DPS and etc. But for now we're focused on supports. So supports is not just, like I said earlier, just not just healing everybody. Like, you have to support people, support the flank or support capping or whatever. A good example of a good support would be, let's say your flank, took out 2 people on the enemy team, right? And it's a long distance map. If they make the effort to come back to you, you go ahead and heal them. I'd recommend throwing a build together that, if your support, whichever one you choose, has any kind of cards in their loadouts that offer extra buffs like movement speed or damage reduction or increased ammo, shielding, anything that can help your homies out, definitely make sure you're running stuff like that to help everyone on the team. It just makes it easier. Let's also use another example or scenario. Let's say, it's overtime and everybody else has died and you're the only one there. You have to sometimes ask yourself, is it worth it to stay here and die and give the enemy team an advantage, give them extra ult charge or let them farm me, or make an effort to retreat? Now, this is kind of hard because if you're pinned, in a certain area, there's no escape, you're kind of fucked. However, if you're smart about it, you can go ahead and make your escape, get back to your team, and try to push again. Now, a lot of ways you can support your team in doing this is attacking as they're attacking. If they're looking at somebody, you look at them. Or if someone's flanking, let them know. So good communication is super important in this game, just like any other game. You want to make sure you're letting people know if you're having an issue, especially as a support. Your damage and your flank can't really help you if you're not telling them what's going on. If you're being pushed, if you have people hard diving your back line, and that's basically when, before the round is even over or really just barely begun, they're already in your backline flanking and try to kill everybody and basically work their way backwards. That is how most people kind of make plays for Siege. So you need to communicate when someone's pushing you, or if you notice a pattern. For me, I notice patterns, so I try to let my team know what I see, because that information could be very helpful to anyone that is pursuing maybe the same enemy or whatever is the case. Healing in this game, there is 2 types of healing. Now, I know I mentioned like pocketing and group healing, but if you are a damage, flank, or even a tank, you have the ability to self-heal. So this could be from cards in your loadout. These could be items that you buy from the item store. There's things such as Life Rip and Kill to Heal. Now, Kill to Heal is very self-explanatory. Basically, obviously, you get a kill, you heal yourself. Life Rip is basically stealing, you do tick damage or whatever damage you're doing towards an enemy. It heals you over time, but not as much as a Kill to Heal kill would, because you would get, a certain amount back. So a lot of times, especially because Kill to Heal was recently buffed, I think 2 patches ago, or something like that, maybe 3 patches ago. So a lot more people have been buying it versus before. I kind of miss old veteran, because old veteran basically used to heal you back to full when you were out of combat. So what I used to do is I used to basically play Yag a lot and get tier 3 veteran. Like, I would rush it because I would get my full health back in a few seconds. Like, all I had to do was get out of combat and I would get my health back and then go right back in. I do miss the way that vet was set up. I don't really like new vet, but it's fine. But yeah, that's just different types of like healing mechanics in the game. You can find more information about which types of champions and what cards and talents you need to have healing in your kit, or not really in your kit, but in your arsenal of things to support your teammate. So I will include the Paladins wiki link below. It helped me out a lot when I was new, and it goes in depth. I don't know if they're still around. I don't think so, but there was this group that was put together called the Assembly of Champions, which is the AOC, and they used to have a direct communication line with the community and the devs. Like I said, I'm not sure if they're around anymore, but they did create, all the information that is available on the Paladins wiki. So I'll be including that below the video so you guys can check it out, because, when you're new, a lot of this stuff seems very overwhelming. But if you do want to enjoy your time on the game, it's just basic information that most players do need to know. Even if you end up coming across a really talented player who's really good, or God forbid, a cheater, at least you'll be knowing what to expect and how to handle it. So back to supports. Comment below who is your favorite support in the game. So I think that covers just about everything as far as supports, and I do apologize if you heard background noise in my other clips. I actually was making the voiceover for this while I was doing laundry this morning, literally right before I made the video. At my first story time on my lifestyle channel, which I will actually link in the description box below, as well as other helpful resources and links for you to go ahead and check out that channel and support it. If you like this video, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you are excited about this series and maybe have ideas, please let me know. And also, if you're in the Discord and a part of the community and willing to act in videos in the future, definitely let me know. I'm interested in filming and collaborating with a ton of you, and I'm super excited. This will be the first time that I really commit myself to something as far as a gaming guide and stuff. Again, if you're looking for in-game content, I'm not the one for you. I'm very beginner to intermediate friendly, and I'm more than happy to link all those people below.